10. The disappearance of Hannah Graham. 18-year-old University of Virginia student Hannah Graham was last seen alive at a restaurant in Charlottesville during the early morning hours of September 13, 2014. Witnesses reported that she was with 32-year-old Jesse Leroy L.J. Matthew Jr., and that the two were seen cozying up to each other. They also said that Hannah appeared to be drunk. One bystander, who saw the couple near a car matching the description of Matthew's vehicle, said that the man she was with looked unfriendly. They claimed to overhear Hannah saying, "I'm not getting in that car with you." 5 weeks after her disappearance, Hannah's remains were found on an abandoned property about 12 miles or 19 kilometers from where she went missing. Her death was ruled a homicide by undetermined means. Home surveillance footage from numerous cameras helped police trace Hannah's last known whereabouts. And in one clip, she can be seen stumbling, adding to suspicions that she was intoxicated at the time. The footage also proves that she was with Matthew since he was identified in the video. While investigating Matthew, police connected him to the 2009 disappearance and murder of college student Morgan Harrington, as well as an assault that happened back in 2005. He was ultimately convicted of both murders and the assault, as well as various other charges surrounding the crimes. The surveillance footage from Hannah Graham's last night alive proved instrumental in winning her murder case. At the moment, Matthew is serving 4 life sentences behind bars for his horrific actions. 9. Francisco Leon Casavant. One night in 2021, a man was captured on surveillance footage staring into the window of a residence in Hollywood, Florida. He could be seen moving a paving stone into place and standing on it to get a better look inside. The homeowner, Janelle Drayton, was eating dinner with her child at the time. She was unaware of the peeping Tom's presence until she noticed the paving stone missing from its usual spot. She then watched her home camera footage to figure out where it went. By then, the man was long gone. But to the woman's horror, the video showed that he'd stood outside her home, looking inside for almost 2 hours. Police recognized the creep in the video as 24-year-old Francisco Leon Casavant, who was already facing a criminal charge for allegedly assaulting a woman in a previous incident from 2020. In that case, he was accused of forcing his way into a woman's home, taking her to the ground and choking her. But luckily, she fought back and managed to escape before he could fully follow through with his plans. At the time, Casavant was out on bond and awaiting trial for allegations of touching himself inappropriately in front of another woman. His past goes back even further than that, according to Broward County Assistant State Attorney Taylor Hoffman, who told the South Florida Sun-Sentinel that Casavant had faced at least 5 previous incident exposure charges. At the time of his arrest in early 2021, he'd recently pled out of all 3 of his cases. Even more shockingly, Casavant was on an electric monitoring device when he committed his most recent offense. He reportedly cut the monitor off before going out that night and spying on the unsuspecting resident and her family. Authorities charged him with committing an unnatural and lascivious act, resisting arrest, and violating probation. He was taken to the local jail as a result, and he was held without bond. Unfortunately, there hasn't been any recent updates on the case, and Casavant's sentencing is unclear. 8. The Queen's Firebomber. In early 2012, a man filled empty Starbucks Frappuccino bottles with gasoline and fashioned Molotov cocktails out of them. He then threw them at various homes and businesses throughout Queens, New York. He targeted at least 2 homes, an Islamic center and a deli. One residence was damaged so badly it was rendered uninhabitable. Police began tracking the suspect after a gas station captured footage of him filling the Frappuccino bottles with gas while pretending to fill his vehicle's gas tank. He was driving a stolen car, and investigators managed to track down the vehicle to another location, where they waited for him to arrive. 40-year-old Ray Lazier Langand, an unemployed truck driver, was taken into custody on 5 counts of possession of an explosive, 4 counts of arson, and 1 count of a hate crime for making anti-Muslim statements at one of the crime scenes. He allegedly confessed to the firebombings during questioning, telling detectives that he targeted most of the victims because he had a grudge against them. Lengen said he firebombed the Islamic Center because they refused to let him use the bathroom. In another incident, which was captured on surveillance video, he mistakenly targeted a home that houses a small Hindu temple during an attempt to victimize a drug dealer. Lengen already had an extensive rap sheet by then, which included past charges for weapons, crack possession, and check kiting. In addition to the firebombings, he was accused of stealing the car he was driving from JFK Airport. He faced both state and federal charges, and received sentences of 20 and 18 years, which he's now serving concurrently. 7. RODERICK GREENE. In December 2022, police responded to a call about a stabbing in Georgetown, South Carolina. They found the victim at the scene with stab wounds to his thigh, head, and face. He had a jacket tied around his leg to slow the bleeding, but he was in rough shape. The injured man told the responding officers that he was riding in a car with the suspect, 44-year-old RODERICK GREENE, when the man suddenly held him at gunpoint and said that he planned to rob him and his father. The victim escaped from the vehicle and ran toward a house in hopes of getting someone to call for help. However, Greene followed and attacked him before fleeing the scene. But miraculously, the victim managed to knock on a resident's door. Surveillance footage from a nearby home corroborated the man's version of events and helped confirm the suspect's identity. Police were unable to locate Greene that day, but they caught up with him 2 days after the stabbing when an employee at a local AT&T store hit the panic button while he was inside. Greene allegedly entered the store and knocked merchandise off shelves while spitting on the items. He then screamed obscenities and threatened to kill everyone that was there. This violent outburst was also captured on camera. In the end, Greene was charged with shoplifting, possession of marijuana, assault and battery, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest. This case is so recent that Greene hasn't received sentencing for his crimes yet. 6. BRYAN, NAVE. Multiple residents along a particular street in Tempe, Arizona were horrified in late 2022 when they reviewed their home surveillance footage and discovered a peeping Tom peering in through their windows at night. The first known incident happened during the early hours one morning toward the end of summer, when a homeowner's Ring camera captured video of the man looking inside. At one point, he could be seen leaving the residence, but he returns again later. During his second visit, the creep went into the backyard and peered in through multiple windows. A few days later, the same man was seen looking into someone's home while they were using the bathroom. They called the police, who arrived in time to catch the suspect, 22-year-old BRYAN, NAVE. Officers took him into custody on previous warrants, but he was soon released. Just a week later, NAVE was caught at a third residence in the same neighborhood, where he allegedly watched someone taking a shower through their bathroom window. He was accused of returning to the home twice over the following days and peering in through the bedroom and kitchen windows. During his fourth visit, a home security camera captured the suspect lurking in the backyard. After noticing the camera, he left and didn't return. The alleged serial spy was charged with 7 counts of trespassing and 2 counts of surreptitious viewing. He was then taken to the Tempe City Jail, where he's currently waiting for his next court date. 5. A hailstorm of bullets. During the early morning hours of April 9, 2021, 2 armed men approached a house in Miramar, Florida, and fired dozens of bullets straight at the windows and doors. The 2 adults and 6 children inside the home dove for cover amid the onslaught of bullets, which struck one teenager in the arm. It wasn't long before he was laying on the kitchen floor in a pool of his own blood. Luckily, the young man survived the incident. The shooting was captured on home surveillance footage. The homeowner, Ebony Moore, told the South Florida Sun-Sentinel that her son and his friend had just arrived and were the only people in the house who were awake. when the incident took place. Her son's friend was the shooting victim. Moore said that she was grateful that none of her 5 kids, who were all home at the time and ranged in age between 8 and 18 years old, were unharmed. She was especially relieved that none of the 40 bullets struck her daughter, who was sleeping in the living room right in the path of the shooters. Ebony and her husband said that they recognized the shooters as the same men who robbed their son at gunpoint a month earlier. They told the police the suspects' names, but unfortunately, the teen who was shot didn't want to press charges and was uncooperative with the investigation. It made the case difficult to pursue, and no arrests were made. The incident left the Moore children traumatized, to the point where the family could no longer celebrate the 4th of July. Now, the sound of fireworks only reminds them of the shooting. Ebony's husband, Hensel, said he wanted to pack up his family and leave Florida amid the ongoing violence that was plaguing the area at the time. Hopefully, the family has found a sense of safety since then. 4. Anthony Murgatroyd. In an effort to find out why his girlfriend's dog was destroying her furniture, Anthony Murgatroyd set up a motion-activated dog cam at the woman's home in Leeds, England. But the camera served a much different purpose in late 2022, when the couple got into an argument about Murgatroyd seeing prostitutes. During the disagreement, the couple unknowingly activated the camera, and it captured footage of Murgatroyd hitting his partner and dragging her out of the house. The video also showed him chasing and threatening the victim with a zombie knife while making slashing motions near her head. Both the victim and the couple's dog clearly seemed distressed in the footage of the disturbing assault. At some point, the woman escaped and ran to a neighbor who called for help. Meanwhile, police apprehended Murgatroyd during a violent struggle at his residence. The victim was too terrified to testify in court, but the camera footage was enough to secure a conviction. Murgatroyd pleaded guilty to assault and a weapons charge, and as a result, he was sentenced to 20 months behind bars. 3. Triple slaying. 36-year-old Paul Billion was found dead from a gunshot wound in the kitchen of his Sioux Falls, South Dakota home during the summer of 2022. By the time his remains were discovered, he'd been dead for several days. In a briefing, Police Lieutenant Nick Butler said that it appeared to be a drug-related robbery that escalated into violence. The investigation carried on for 4 months while detectives worked to identify the suspects and their social media activity. Various home cameras captured 3 suspects coming and going from Billion's residence, and other evidence convicted a 4th suspect to the murder weapon. Gabo Westford Uo, Thomas Tarley, and Sotimon Poli were charged with first-degree murder and burglary. Carnell Jimerson also faces a weapons charge in connection with the gun that was used to kill the victim. The murder suspects are being held on bails of over $1 million each, while their case makes its way through the legal system. 2. MICKEYVIN Brown. Just days into the 2023 new year, Broward County Sheriff's deputies responded to a call about shots fired at a home in North Lauderdale, Florida. They arrived to find a man unresponsive in the driveway, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Unfortunately, he was pronounced dead at the scene. The victim's name is being withheld under Florida's Marsy's Law, which went into effect in 2018. The law allows crime victims to shield their identities and personal information from the public. Homicide detectives identified the suspect with help from witnesses, evidence, and surveillance footage. The alleged shooter, 20-year-old MICKEYVIN Brown, was pulled over and apprehended in the nearby city of Tamarack. He was charged with second-degree murder with a firearm, committing a first-degree felony with a weapon, and probation violation. Brown is currently being held in the local jail pending the next step in his case. 1. Kyle Halls. Just days before Thanksgiving in 2022, a house in Philadelphia was firebombed in the middle of the night. The homeowner was upstairs when they heard glass shattering on the ground floor and rush downstairs to find the curtains engulfed in flames. Luckily, all 4 residents escaped unharmed, and firefighters managed to get the blaze under control before it could spread throughout the house. In the aftermath of the unexpected fire, the homeowner obtained surveillance footage of the alleged perpetrator throwing a flaming object at the window. Other surveillance video from the days leading up to the fire showed the same man discarding a cardboard box along the street. Some mail that was found inside the box had the name Kyle Halls on it, and he was the same man that was identified by prosecutors in the footage. In addition to allegedly torching the townhouse, Halls was accused of breaking the window of another building nearby. The Temple University Police Department arrested him and turned the case over to the Philadelphia police. At the moment, the case is ongoing. Would you rather discover footage of a peeping Tom lurking outside your home repeatedly while police continuously run into dead ends in their attempts to identify the culprit, or be caught on camera losing your temper at someone and have it held against you in a low-level criminal case? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.